What's up, guys? It's your boy Darkskin, and today we're going to be going over all the characters on Meliodas, Lostvayne Meliodas banner. Now, I dropped that last video, and I've got like a bunch of people asking who's on the banner or saying, is this unit on the banner? Is this unit on the banner? So I decided to go ahead and break down all the units that were on the banner on JP. Now, as you guys can see, I'm using this website right here. If you want to know what this website is, it's GC Database. I have it in the description of every single video. I assume a lot of you guys don't look at the description, I guess. But yeah, I have the link to this in the description of every single video I post. So if you guys ever want to go to this website, it is in the description along with all of my other links and stuff like that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and go through all the characters that are on his banners and everything like that and talk about the really good ones, because a lot of people are asking about, you know, well, if I do skip, who should, like, what's on the banner, what do I get out of it, etc., this, that, and the third. Also, in my last video, I wasn't necessarily telling everybody to skip every single banner. I was just basically giving you insight on what banners are to come and what banners are worth, and then you can, you know, decide whether you want to skip those or not based off of what's going to be happening. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the video and everything like that. So, starting out on the banner, we have, this is the first part of it. So, Blue Demon Meliodas, Blue Elihawk, Tank Diane, Blue Nunchuck Bond, Red King, Blue Gother, and then right here you can see Red Merlin. Now, out of this one right here, the only ones really worth would be Blue Demon Meliodas, obviously, which, I mean, he's just came to global. A lot of people, you know, are talking about him. A lot of people know what's going on as far as how he works and everything like that. So I'm not going to go too much on him. But yeah, I mean, super amazing unit, very good farmer, very good damage dealer, one of the best metas in PvP. For the, well, whenever he came out in JP, he was a meta team, where his pin team was the meta team for like what, 6 months or something crazy. So yeah, very, very good unit. Obviously we have a small tank Diane, which she came out what, a week or two ago. Well, a week or two before Meliodas. Obviously, very good tank, best tank in the game, right? Estarossa has a better taunt. Green Estarossa has a better taunt than her, but she tanks better than him. So it just comes with the territory of, you know, do you want to tank, do you want damage? But yeah, I mean, going over her quite a bit, little bit. Double crit chance on her card, 160%, 120, well, 240%, what? And then 400% on her damage card. Obviously, her second card, taunts on all three, increases her defense-related stats by 80, 120, or 200%, and it's all for 3 turns. Amazing. Her passive taunts at the start of the match, giving her a 300% defense increase. Well, a barrier equal to 300% of her defense at the start of the turn, or start of the match, really good. So yeah, that is Tank Diane, and then we also have Red King. Now, Red Skinny King is a horrible unit outside of his ultimate. I mean, outside of his passive. I mean, his ultimate is the same one as the other 2 Skinny Kings, so I mean, I guess his ultimate's really good as well. But 120 disables recovery skills, and then 180 disables recovery skills for 2 turns. AoE, right? This one is 100, 150, and 200%. Inflicts explode after 2 turns, and then 1 turn. Explode is additional damage equal to 100% of the damage dealt after however many turns. So if you do this damage after 2 turns, it'll do that damage again. It's just not a really good card, honestly. Like, his skill cards are just not good at all. But his passive in PvP reduce the pierce rate of all enemies by half, as well as reduce any additional pierce rate by half. What that means is, not only is he going to reduce, like, say he's going to cut Meliodas' pierce rate in half, right? He's going to also cut Lilia's pierce rate in half. So let's say Meliodas and Lilia both have 100 pierce rate. He's going to make Meliodas' pierce rate 50, right? He's going to also make Lilia's pierce rate 50. Well, Lilia's passive is going to be giving 25 pierce rate to Meliodas, right? he's also going to cut that in half. So now Meliodas is only getting 12.5% pierce rate from Lilia instead of 25, since her pierce rate is now 50. So that's how it works, right? So he's going to cut all pierce rate in half, and then he's going to cut all additional pierce rate in half. Now, the reason why a lot of people talk about this king over like Valenti is that you have to build gear for Valenti to work, number one, and number two, you have to run Valenti in the front. So if you're running Valenti in the front, Valenti is not a damage dealer, so you're losing out on damage. Obviously she can bring some utility to the team, but like I said, you're losing it on damage. So if your damage dealer dies, you're probably not going to have any damage to, you know, use with Valenti out there. Where King can be used from the 4th slot, and, you know, not to mention it's Skinny King, so he's going to have a lot of combat class, because everybody's going to be building HP defense UR gear for King whenever it comes out. So, you know, between a lot of combat class and UR gear and being ran from the 4th slot, a lot of people like to run King more. Now, granted, Valenti can take away more pierce rate than King, but you need to build gear for her to work, etc. King works in ungeared, whereas Valenti doesn't work as good in ungeared. So it just comes with the territory of, you know, all of that stuff going on. Anyways, so yeah, that is the first screenshot. Going on to the second screenshot, Escanor. And I actually made a video yesterday talking about Blue Michael, Melascula, and Monspeet, and Gloxinia. I talked about all three of them in my last video. The only unit, as far as here, worth mentioning would be Escanor, which we all know what he does. Damage, you know. 240%. At rank 2, it's 300, removes 1 ult gauge. At rank 3, it's 500, not removes, gives 1 ult gauge. At 500, it gives, you know, 2 ult gauge at rank 3. Then, 180% ignite. Rank 2 is just remove buffs, same card as the first. And at rank 3, it does more damage. It applies 2 ignites. It removes buffs as well. So there is that. Obviously ult hits like a tank, and then or truck anyways. And then his passive, once he gets max ult gauge, he removes all buffs and debuffs, cannot be buffed or debuffed. So that is Escanor. I know a lot of you guys probably want to know what Red Estarossa does. He's not that good of a unit, honestly. 220% attack to one enemy, disables recovery skills. 220 disables recovery skills for 2 turns, and then 360 disables recovery skills for 2 turns as well. Nothing crazy as far as that goes. Right here, applies extinction damage equal to 160, 240, or 400. Extinction is increases damage dealt by 20% per debuff on target. So however many debuffs you have on the enemy, if you damage them, you will get extra damage for it. So there is that. His passive, which is the same one as Green Estarossa. Really good passive. I mean, really good ultimate. I said passive. I meant ultimate. For 1 turn, take a preemptive stance, attack stance. Before allies receive damage, deal 300% of this unit's attack to the enemy and nullify all other skill cards. So basically, when he presses ult, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It becomes the enemy's turn. If the enemy tries to attack you that turn, instead of them attacking, you will ult them with 300% damage AoE, and then it's your turn. They don't get to attack. Now, granted, if you ult and then they don't attack, you lose your ultimate. So keep that in mind. Going on to the passive, increases attack by 10% per debuff on hero. Weird passive. I don't really understand. But anyways, his commandment. After allies and enemies receive damage, apply a debuff that decreases the attack-related stats of the attacker by 20% for 3 turns. Applies when entering battle. So there is that as well. Like I said, he's not that good of a unit at all, personally. Just not worth. So, Escanor, and then going on to the last one, Derieri, Lostvayne, Fraudrin. Now, Derieri. This is one of the units that, like, is just an amazing unit in the game. She dethrones Green Jericho as the hardest hitting unit in the game, if you will. The Omega Super Nuker, if you will. How she works: 240% damage to one enemy, 360 to one enemy, 600 to one enemy. Her second skill increases basic stats by 20% for 2 turns. At rank 2, increases basic stats by 30% for 2 turns. Evades when attacked. So evade means you're immune to all attack and debuff attack skills. So you can only get hit with ultimates, basically, right? That's what that is. Rank 3, increase basic stats, which is attack, HP, defense by 50% for 3 turns, evades for 1 turn as well. Really, really nice. Now, let's go ahead and talk about her passive first. Increases attack by 10% when the hero uses a skill. The buff goes away when no skills are used on the turn, limited to 10 times. So she can get a 10% attack buff 10 times. Now, let's go to her ultimate. Inflicts amplified damage equal to 630% of attack to one enemy. Dog. This is why she's so busted. Each one of these stacks count as a buff. So if she stacks it 10 times, she has 10 buffs. If she, does this right here, this counts as 3 buffs. If she gets evade, it's 4 buffs. So 14 buffs. She could have 14 buffs, basically, before she ults. So, like, dog. That's what, like 400... I don't know, 400... Some dumb, insane amount of damage. It doesn't make sense. It's like what, 420% increase, something like that. It's crazy, right? And then obviously her multiplier can go up with ult, dupes. Then going on to her commandment, which her commandment is really good. Decreases the damage dealt by ranged attacks of allies and enemies in PvP by 35%. Meaning, if you don't go up and slap them, it's getting reduced. So basically, pin team reduced by 35%, stuff like that. But anyways, Derieri, amazing unit, like I said. Obviously, we have Lostvayne Meliodas, which I talked about him in my last video, so I'm not going to go over him too much. 240, 300, 500, fills ult gauge by 1, fills ult gauge by 2, AoE, 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 and then like it ignores defense. Nice. His ultimate, super disgusting. 300% damage. Effective against all types, which is crazy. And then he gets 20% increased damage per, Meliodas card in hand. His passive, if he gets hit with a crit, all of his cards rank up. So, like, he's just really, really disgusting. But this is something we didn't even know on release. Fraudrin here, right here, is the counter to Meliodas. We'll go over him very briefly. 180% damage, extorts 20% attack and defense, cool, whatever. 200% attack to one enemy, 30% attack and defense, extort. Then 250, and then extorts 50% attack and defense, which is alright. Second skill, 140% damage to all enemies. At rank 2, it's 140%, removes buffs. And at rank 3, it's cancel buffs and stances, 240% of attack. His ultimate, 630% attack to one enemy, depletes ultimate move gauge by 3. Cool. This is why he counters Lostvayne. Enemies who have lower CC than Fraudrin will not gain ultimate move gauge for 2 turns. Applies when entering battle. This is not a buff. This is not a passive. You cannot remove this with cleanse. You cannot take this away with green Escanor's debuff card. Like, take away buff. This, if this happens, there's nothing you can do. So yeah, he basically stops people from ulting or gaining ult gauge for 2 turns if he has more combat class. Which you're gonna, if you're gonna use him, you're obviously gonna build him HP, defense, UR gear, all of his, It's safe to say, this can counter Lostvayne. So, but yeah, those are all of the units on the banner as far that are useful or good, anyways. Not saying you can't use some of these other units. You have Galland on here, Melascula, Monspeed, Gloxinia, Estarossa. If you look here, blue Ellie Hawk, blue Nunchuck Bond. But yeah, it's just like I went over like the best units on the banner, and this is all on JP. Like, not saying that it'll be on global, but as far as JP goes, these are all the units that were on the banner. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below, tell me what you guys did in the comment section below. That being said, I will see you guys next time. Peace.